Lissette is a Puerto Rican, feisty, hard shell, but loving person who just wants to be the change I want to see in the world. And Lord, have I been also living. I have gone through more circumstances and more situations than I wear on. That I want to try and create something where we can finally have a community of a little bit of good. Thank you for joining episode 1 of GetSetWithLissette. This is my very first episode. And let me tell you, first episode, long time coming. So what can you expect with GetSetWithLissette? And honestly, why are you even listening to this, right? Those are the questions that I ask anytime I start watching a podcast or watching YouTube and or listening to podcasts, which I'm a huge podcast person. And the reality is that I don't know what brought you here, and I really don't know why you're here listening, but I'm thankful that you're here. I hope something resonates with you, and more than anything, I'm here to build relationship and empower and inspire as much as I can. In a world where there is so much bad and so much hate, I just want to be a little light, a little sprinkle of something fun to lighten up your day, hopefully inspire you to do something better, share with you exactly my journey, and I'm honestly getting comfortable with not being comfortable. That's the goal in life, right? We're here to simply just do better today than we did yesterday. So that's what this show is about. It's about getting set for God knows what. Getting set for career ventures, getting set for life, right? Because let me tell you, life be lifing, honey. That is my thing. That is what I say. And you're going to hear that over and over again because it is the only thing it knows how to do. And we're going to get set for inspiring conversations that hopefully empower you to get set to take real action. So let's get started at the beginning. Why Lissette, and who is this girl, and why should you even listen to me? Girl and guy, who knows why, to be honest with you. But I just like to have conversations. The reality is I've been having conversations, and I'm the friend that gives advice to everyone. My mother always jokes and says that I can make a rock talk. I'm the person in the elevator when everyone's being quiet. I'll give a compliment. If I make eye contact, oh, it's done. I'm going to start talking. And I like to ensure that anyone around me just feels really comfortable because that's the goal. I don't ever want to be in a space or place where there's tension. Nobody likes that. I want to make sure that we feel good because, again, life is a journey and all we're here to do is start from the beginning and keep it moving. There's no destination. There's only tomorrow and the next day, and wherever we end up, it's all part of the journey. So Lissette is a Puerto Rican, feisty, spicy, loving, right? Hard shell, but loving person who just wants to be the change I want to see in the world. That is my favorite quote. It is a quote that I heard literally, oh my God, I was probably in like the 8th grade. No. In fact, I was definitely in middle school, and I know that because I went to Catholic middle school. So I remember, so it was either the 7th or 8th grade, because I remember having the conversation with, I'm going to protect people, so I'm not going to say names, but sister fill in the blank. So me and this nun, she was one of my teachers, and I used to always talk to her about like philosophical things, and we would talk about things outside of just our normal curriculum because I grew up in the Catholic church when I was really young and I went to a Catholic school and I had a lot of questions because I didn't necessarily agree with everything that was being taught. And I found a nun who literally, being that she had gone to different dioceses, she had literally traveled all over the world. And so even though she was a devout nun with a devout faith, she too had decided that you can get to places and you can have different perspectives, and that doesn't necessarily change your faith or that doesn't necessarily change your opinion. It's okay to be well-rounded and just have different opinions on different things. And she shared some of Gandhi's principles, and she's the reason why I even knew who Gandhi was. And that quote is a quote that just, it rang. And honestly, here I am in my mid-30s. A woman never tells her age. So here I am in my 30s, and I still want to be the change I hope to see in the world. And with that, I have literally had an entire career that has been based on just that. It's funny because life has a funny way of coming back around full circle. When I was getting ready to go to college and I was preparing myself, again, at this point now I'm in high school. I went to a public high school, straight A student, the whole nine. Not that any of that matters because none of those accolades really matter. But the reason I say all of that is because my mother swore that I would get into marketing or get into journalism or something where I would be in front of the camera. She always thought I'd be like an anchor woman or, having interviews with people. And I would always say, well, no, because my goal is to be the change I want to see in the world. It resonated with me. So Mom, no, I want to make sure that I'm doing something that has impact. I want to have a change in the community. Why am I going to talk to people no, you're so off base. Let me tell you, when your parents tell you something, mama knows, okay? Because when I tell you that woman, here I am now, looks at me and is like, had you done this from the beginning, right? But if I would have done it at the beginning, I wouldn't have the stories that I have now. I wouldn't have experienced the things that I've experienced. And I wouldn't have had the impact that I've had to be able to come back and share and provide hopefully a little glimmer of hope with people today. And yet, nugget for today, your mama knows, okay? She knows what's best because she knows you. No one knows you better than your mom, typically. And because I'll preface by saying everyone's story is going to be different. And I by no means want to sit here and make it seem like that's what it is for everybody. But that's what it was for me. She's literally my best friend today. And at the time, she played parent, but she played parent in a way that you're not good at this. That's probably not your forte. I remember telling her at one point I wanted to get into dance. And she was like, oh, honey, there's so many servers in New York who also want to be dancers. You better have a backup plan. So that was our relationship. So when she said that I should be in front of a camera, I'm also like, okay, the same one who told me I can't dance? Yeah, nah, we're going to get a more stable job. And again, something that allows me to impact. So went to college, got in for undergrad for psychology, got into social work, right? Originally, when I went to school, though, I wanted to be Dr. Wong from Law and Order SVU. That was my goal, criminal profiler. I wanted to profile criminals, right? And understand the workings around why a criminal does what they do, help individuals find the serial killer, learn their makeup, understand how they're thinking, all the things. That was my goal. Wanted to have that be the change, right? Let's get into the psych and criminal justice field and let's really try to understand what makes a serial killer think, act, do, get a better understanding of them, help individuals profile and again, get into that field. But again, nothing happens without reason. So what did I end up doing? I also, during my time at college, I was involved in extracurricular activities. And my junior year, I did a volunteer event where I went to a homeless shelter. And back up, it wasn't a homeless shelter. It was specifically domestic violence shelter because they were all women that had been victims of domestic violence. But it was a shelter where they were able to, it was a safe haven where people were able to come in and stay for a while to get back on their feet. It literally was just what looked like a normal house on a regular road. And the reason why is because they wanted to ensure that there was a certain level of anonymity with it. So we had gone in as a volunteer, and the goal was to read to the kids. That was our act. And this is another one of those moments in life that has great impact on you and the trajectory of where you head. So junior year, criminal profiler is what I am. So I was a double major in criminal justice and in clinical psychology because that has always been the track, right? I was going to have this huge impact. But now I'm at this place and I'm reading. And this is one of those moments where it feels very much like for me now, it's out of body. At the time, I was just taking it all in. But it was one of those moments that feels like a snapshot in history that I, to this very day, can remember in great, great insight. The little girl that was sitting on my lap, she had curly hair like me, beautiful caramel skin, beautiful smile. Her mother, so if I'm sitting on a seat, kind of like my seat here, right? This living room setup that I have going on. So I was in a seat, she was sitting on my lap, and then to the left of me, but in almost like not too far, arm's reach maybe, there was a longer couch. And on that couch, the little girl who I was reading to, her mother was sitting there. And I remember looking at her mom, who also had, so she had the girl that I had, and she had probably about a 9 to 10 month old. Or maybe a 6 to 8 month old that was fed extremely well. One of the two, who knows? But I say that because the child was literally just kind of like standing on her and hanging on her almost. And it just looked like life had been depleted out of her. And I remember thinking in that moment while I'm sitting here and I'm reading to this girl and I'm watching this mom who just looks like life is just, lifeless, just kind of there like this. And for those that are listening and don't see me, I'm just kind of like arms down, head down, just, you can imagine the kind of person when they're just like, I have nothing else to give. That's what she was giving. Sis had nothing else to give, okay? And I'm reading and I'm there and I just kept thinking about her. Finished, had a great time. It was an amazing moment. I learned her story. I spoke with her for some time. Got to speak to other women in the room. It was a very, very, very beautiful day. Went back on campus, keep going day in and day out. And I'm just thinking about her. And I remember thinking, why am I so focusing on the criminal, right? Why am I so like criminal profile impact, right? That impact is my thing. But why is the focus on that? Why not help victims, right? Why not help the downtrodden, the ones that actually need the help, the people that are down and out? So at that very moment, I had made a decision that I was still going to be true to my quote. However, the impact that I wanted to have was going to be directly related with people that needed help the most. And at that moment, that was it. I was like, so I'm going to either be a social worker or a caseworker or I didn't know what, but it was a do-gooder of some sort. And that was a venture that I took on. So never changed my major. Again, junior year, life is again happening. And I'm not going to go and sit here and say that I was like, oh, it was such an impact that I decided to add on 3 years into my track. Yeah, no, would lie. That would be a lie. But I had made a decision enough to say, so whatever professional decisions I make from here on out, I want to ensure that I align myself and put myself in a position to help and to have impact and to always be empathetic. So those were my things. And from that point on, after graduation, first big girl job, I worked in a program with women that were pregnant and had a child under the age of 2. And our goal was to focus on social determinants of health, right? So what is it that's happening in a woman's life that could determine or dictate the probability or the possibility of her having a healthy pregnancy outcome? So not necessarily just her going to the doctors, but like, does she have food in the home? Is she in a safe environment? Does she have access to getting to transportation so she can go to those prenatal appointments that are so important? Is she in a safe place? You know, we would look at all of the other social determinants that sometimes people take for granted and find out what can we do and how can we assist to ensure that this person has a healthy pregnancy outcome. From there, I went on to maternal addictions, right? In the addictions world, I helped women that had a child, either pregnant or a child under the age of 5. And again, our focus was, not necessarily just looking at the addiction for what the addiction is, but thank God we're finally at a place where we understand that addiction is a disease just like anything else. And I was luckily and blessed to be in a place that recognized that years ago prior to this being a thing. And so I was blessed to have the opportunity to work with people in that arena. I've worked in homelessness. So it didn't matter what I did. My goal had always been, again, staying true to the promise and the commitment that I made to myself in my undergrad, that I was going to continue to have impact. From then on, I have just made a commitment to, in any room, in any place, in any space that I'm in, ensuring that if I only have an impact on one person, or if I only have one conversation, that they walk away either feeling heard, feeling validated, or knowing that they're important. Through the homelessness, arena, after working with individuals in that field, and at that point, I was in more of an executive position, and yet I looked more like the families that came through our doors. So while I was in an executive position, I also found myself being in a relatable position, because they'd rather come and talk to Miss Lissette than the individuals that were in place to have conversation with them, because there was a certain level of relatability. I think a big part of that is being of Spanish descent. A lot of our families, unfortunately, were similar to my background. They came from the city like I had come from. They grew up very similar in ways that I had grown up with. And I've always prided myself on being as transparent and as open as possible to a certain degree, right? I feel like as I've progressed, I've gotten better at that. And I think that just comes with age, because, and we'll talk more on, and I'm going to continue to share my own personal journey on when it comes to vulnerability and authenticity. And oh my God, those things are such buzzwords nowadays. So I almost feel, and I give myself a little bit of an ick when I start saying, I'm always looking to be authentic and having authentic conversations and being the most vulnerable that I can be, because that's what everyone's trying to be now. But this isn't coming from a place of just doing it because that's the thing to do. This has been a huge journey, because I've always been in positions where I'm helping, right? I'm the one giving the advice, but God forbid anyone knew that, oh, Lissette lives too, or oh, I have things going on as well. I have mastered the skill of masking me. So this is the first time that I will actually be sharing moments and truths about my own life experiences. Because I've always been the one to give advice. I've always been in positions and have been in spaces and places where I create safety so that others can share. And Lord, have I been also living. I have gone through more circumstances and more situations than I wear on me. People don't know the scars that individuals carry with them, because we choose to mask them and put our armor on every single day to keep moving forward. So trust when I say I have mastered that skill. And I think the reason why I mastered it is because of the places that I've been through. Who wants to be the hypocrite, right? I've just shared with you guys, I worked with maternal addictions, with women that were pregnant. Who am I when I'm working with you and trusting you to be the one to say, Mama, you got to get out of this situation. You've got to do what you have to do. Oh, but don't worry what I have going on at home. Don't you dare ask me about my relationship, because God knows that in and of itself is a story, right? Instead, I would always focus on the people. I would focus on how can I make them better. Helping other people made me feel better. And I didn't have to deal with my own circumstances or the things that I was going through, because I knew that if I at least helped that one person, I was in a good place. I did something good. And I think that I've done that for so long that I almost forgot how to feel, how to actually deal with my own emotions. And so this platform, my goal is that this platform becomes community, right? That I can shed some of that weight that I've had. Again, I'm looking to become very, very uncomfortable by sharing these stories. And the goal is that it resonates. That if at least one person says, yeah, that was me, or I get it, I felt the same way, or if I can hopefully be able to lend a listening ear. I really want to create an opportunity where I can hear some perspectives and hopefully hear from any of you that have also gone through similar stories. That's what Get Set with Lissette is about, right? It's about putting ourselves in uncomfortable situations to have inspiring conversations, right? And empower individuals to take real life action, whether that action is as simple as, hey, I need help, or what do I have to do to start, ... or I like, I love, I need more of, whatever it is. I just really want to create that because I feel like I needed that at one point and it wasn't available. So now I'm trying to put myself in a position to be what I needed in my younger adult years for another younger person or older person. Look, I'm going to be very, very real. I just want to help because can I just say, life sometimes, it sometimes sucks. And it sucks to the point that it's like, why are we doing this over and over and over again? But there's so much good. And I think that we are in a space where, between social media, we've got social media and all types of media things at our fingertips. And the only things that seem to, and Lord knows for the algorithms, when I start dropping these things out, the negative somehow soars through the roof. And those little moments of positive get lost in the sauce. And I don't want that. I want to try and create something where we can finally have a community of a little bit of good. That's it. I'm bringing the conversations here. And so again, if you're listening and you're not seeing it, that's literally what my shirt says. I'm bringing the conversations because it's time to have true inspiring conversations. Let's get rid of the fluff. Let's stop trying to make it seem like this is roses and golds and the yellow brick road. And let's really just inspire each other to be better, do better. And hey, if you woke up today and you got out of bed, you are winning. Because at times trying to do that can suck. Sitting in front of this camera and having conversation just so that I can try my best to help someone is nerve-wracking and yet so powerful and so fun because it's being the change I hope to be in the world. And that's the goal. That's what it is. And if you get nothing else from this small little first teaser, then get that. My takeaway for you is to wake up every day and if nothing else, decide one thing that you want to accomplish and make that one thing happen. Just one. And keep things moving. And part 2, I will start to explain the concept of the show and the road that it took me to get there. This one, I just wanted to be vulnerable and let you know why I'm here, a little bit of who I am, the journey that I've come on, and let's join this ride together. So, until next time, sending light, sending love, and I can't wait to start this journey with you. Bye.